for PDP to try to attack IPOB, they have signed their death warrant. When I attack APC, they say I work for PDP. I attack PDP, they say I work for APC. Anything we do, they have difficulties with it. But we are going to teach them a lesson they will never, ever forget. Last week, if you all recall, I was in our studios here in London. I made a broadcast, and I said that I want a referendum. The same referendum that allowed Atiku Abubakar to become a Nigerian citizen via place beside was the same thing that Nnamdi Kanu wants for the people of Biafra. So the whole world where Atiku Abubakar actually comes from. And I won't do it myself, because if I do it, the world will think maybe I have an agenda. I like Atiku Abubakar, I think he's a gentleman. But the rats he surrounds himself with are not worthy. Because if they were, they wouldn't have dared attack IPOB. If you have a smartphone with you here, please put it on silent, and then, where do we have that static? I want you to go to your Google and type in referendum 1961 Nigeria. Simple assignment that those E-rats couldn't do. Very simple assignment. Can those at the back hear me? I want you all, please. Anybody that gets it should please raise his or her hand and tell us precisely what is written. 1961 Nigeria referendum, please, if you have it. Has anyone come across it? Just go to Google. And as I'm saying this, I hope that the E-rats that works for PDP are also listening, and they're doing this very simple assignment as well. Go to Google, you type in referendum 1961 Nigeria. Have you got it? Can please somebody take the microphone to him. I can come closer. Tell me precisely what it says. Please. Is it this one? Yes, sir. Give it to him. Will the world hear us when he speaks? No. Yes. No. Will they hear us? No. Come closer, please. Can you come around this way, please, if you may? Can you use that one? Yeah, give me that cable. No, bring this cable, please. Yeah. Give it to me. I think it is all the way here. There you go. We want to teach the zoo what they do not know nor understand. Here on Radio Biafra, anything I say is gospel. Before heaven and before mankind on earth. After this, I will deal with Jubril. Comprehensively and totally. That the world may know that Nigeria is indeed a zoo. Full of animals. Please tell me what it says when you Googled referendum 1961 Nigeria, please.
Referencing from Wikipedia.
Yes.
1961 British Cameroon's referendum.
Stop. British what?
Cameroon's.
Did it say British Nigeria?
No.
Proceed, please.
A referendum was held in British Cameroon's on 11th February 1961 to determine whether the territory should join neighboring Cameroon or Nigeria. The option of independence having been opposed by Andrew Cohen, the UK representative to the United Nations Trustship Council. It was not presented as an option.
Google it.
Ultimately, the Muslim majority Northern Cameroons saw a majority of 60% in favor of joining Nigeria.
Stop. Is it very clear now? Yes, are you confused? When was Atiku born? Google it again. Tell me the date he was born, Atiku. And where he was born, please, very important. Where is the birthplace of Atiku Abubakar? Please find it for me on Google. Find it for me. I don't want to say anything myself. I want us to do our research this evening.
All hail Biafra. Atiku Abubakar, GCON, born 25th November 1946, is a Nigerian politician.
Stop. He was born in
46.
When did they join Nigeria? Was Atiku therefore born a Nigerian?
Not at all.
Then he shouldn't be contesting for the presidency. PDP E-rats got Atiku into trouble, not me. They attacked IPOB, and that's the worst thing any idiot can do on earth. Because we come after you with everything we've got. I mean everything. At the end of the process, you'll be sunk, never to rise again. How we deal with them. This is a divine project ordained by heaven. No man can stop this. No human being born of woman can stop IPOB. It's impossible. Where does Atiku come from?
Cameroon.
Where was he born?
Cameroon.
Can anybody born outside Nigeria contest for the presidency?
Not at all.
I told them. I warned them. Thank you very much. We must proceed. Our boycott is not against anybody. I asked for a boycott in 2014, before 2015 elections. As at that time, Atiku left Jonathan, our brother, to go and campaign for his own brother, who is a Fulani man, Buhari. Do you know Atiku was in PDP? Are you aware he was in PDP? Vice president in PDP, and he decamped to APC. Now you're asking IPOB to re-elect him. Uche, did we not boycott elections in 2015? Of course we did. What makes you think that I, Nnamdi Kanu, will ask this very wonderful army of heaven, IPOB, to vote in 2019 with nothing? I gave them my conditions. If they don't accede to my demands, I'll publish it on Friday, that the world may know what we're asking for. If they sign it, then I'll call off the boycott. If they don't sign it, we proceed full steam ahead. Because our priority is Biafra, nothing more, nothing less. I am not asking for anything else in life. All I want to see is Biafra. After that, then I can die. For those talking nonsense about us, on Thursday, I will bury what is left of Jubril Aminu al-Sudani. I will have a world press conference here in London, and I will ask sensible white people if that thing there is the dead Buhari or not. All of you know that Buhari is dead. Everybody knows that very well. But because they don't want IPOB to have the credit for it, that is why they all ganged up, conspired, the Yoruba media, the same PDP. They know Buhari is dead, but they don't want to talk about it. Why? Because they know if they do, the zoo will collapse and Biafra will come. So they don't want it. They went back and ganged up amongst themselves to say right hand is Fulani, left hand is Fulani, and I kept wondering, can't any other ethnicity produce the president in the zoo? Why always Fulani? And to make matters worse, this is not the first time, not the second, not the third time. You have two Fulani men as the front runners for the seat. Let me ask you a very simple question. What has the Fulanis ever done for Nigeria before? Somebody should please tell me. What have they done? Do they have engineers? Do they have poets? Do they have writers? Do they have philosophers? What do they have? Somebody please tell me why a Fulani man will deliver me.
They have murderers, virtual killers.
When you're asking somebody to help you out of a problem, you look at their track record, what they have done in the past, and what they're likely to do in the future. I want somebody to please tell me what national problem in the zoo that a Fulani man solved before. Just tell me one. I never heard of austerity measure in my life until Shagari was in power. Some of you perhaps are too young to remember. They started with something called austerity measure. Babangida came and introduced his own structural adjustment program called SAP. All they bring is hardship and poverty because they are bereft of ideas. They are not blessed with governance. It is only in the zoo called Nigeria that Fulani holds sway. Every other sensible country in Africa, none of them will ever allow a Fulani to ascend to the throne of leadership. They are messing about with all of us. And I was reading what some of these people, some of them in Lagos, some of them. The way some young Igbo people are fighting for 2 Fulani men, they cannot do it for Mogal. Is Mogal not contesting? IPOB is their problem because we preach the truth. Because we'll tell them the truth that nobody will dare tell them. I tweeted earlier today, and no Yoruba person incidentally has ever answered that question. Tinkan Island is working. Papa Wharf is working as the only 2 viable seaports in the whole of the zoo called Nigeria. Now, let us, for instance, say we shut down Tinkan and Papa Wharf and move the business to Calabar to Uguacha. Do you think Yoruba will be in Nigeria? No. Will that be in Nigeria? No. Then why are our people supporting such nonsense? Why are they supporting it? I remember when I was telling Nyawodo what is to befall them. He didn't listen to me. He went to Obiano and planned Operation Python Dance. They should come and kill me. Wodo was overheard boasting that he would divide IPOB. And I asked somebody to tell him. I sent somebody to him to tell him to remember the way we greet in IPOB. We say IPOB one family. We never ever reply 2 families or 3 or 4. I said to the person that if Wodo succeeds in dividing IPOB, I'll relinquish my leadership position. Because nobody can try it. Today, which organization is divided? And incidentally, when I came out of prison and was holding rallies all across Biafra land, the first man to call for my arrest because of the number of crowd that come out to see me wherever I go to, he died 2 days ago. Watch and see what will happen to everybody opposed to IPOB and to Biafra. What shall become of them? I thought they said an Anambra election boycott didn't work. Isn't that what they said? Yes. Then leave us now to boycott this one. Since it didn't work. We must know one thing and one thing for sure. That we are on the right track. The enemies will try to distract some of you. But I have seen them all. One after the other. If you do right, they say, why did you do left? You do left, they say, oh, why not right? If zoo is a place where people reason and function properly, they have between now and Friday to amend their constitution to allow, should I say, a naturalized article to perhaps still remain in the race. If Atiku goes into elections on Saturday and wins, he will be impeached from office because he was not born a Nigerian. That is a very simple fact. That is what the funniest thing about Fulani is that they never ever obey the law. Before Buhari died, did he have any certificate? No. But they allowed him to contest. The same Obasanjo now telling you, oh, vote for Atiku, was the same man that said, oh, WAEC doesn't matter. After all, he went to Moms and all the shot and heaven knows where else. They subvert their own laws that they make. They make laws and they subvert them. And you allow them. Such nonsense cannot happen anywhere. We are in the UK. Use Brexit as an example. It doesn't matter how many people right now can or wish to vote to remain. It doesn't matter. That time the referendum was conducted, a majority said we want to leave Europe. Is that not correct? That very decision must be respected. That is why Europeans are far more smarter than we are. They recognize the importance of law. If you subvert this one now, who knows what might be subverted later on and the consequences or the likely effect on the people. In Nigeria, they made a law that says if you don't have any WAEC certificate, you cannot run. If you're born outside Nigeria, you cannot run. It is in the constitution of the country. But here you have one dead man in Saudi Arabia and somebody born in Cameroon running for office. And you see how our people are queuing behind them, fighting us because of Fulani people. Fulani that brought headsmen to kill us. Did Atiku ever condemn Fulani headsmen attack on our people? Did PDP ever come out to condemn? Of course, I give credit to Bukola Saraki, in all fairness. He tried. Have you ever heard them come out before to say in categorical terms that what is happening is not good? Why is Dasuki still in detention? Why is El Zagzagi still in detention? When court after court, session after session have ruled that these men must be freed. But black people in Africa will keep quiet. And because Onogen kept quiet, the thing kept coming until he swallowed him up. But had Onogen stood up during my time to say, you must obey court order, do you think Jubril and the cabal will have the guts to remove him? Because he would have succeeded in stopping this very problem right from the beginning. Simple common sense. They said they have PhD, but they know nothing upstairs. Because they took Nnamdi Kanu, nobody said anything. They took Dasuki, nobody said anything. They took El Zagzagi, nobody said anything. You are not going to chief. Why can't they come for you? Who are you? Are you accepting what I'm telling you this evening? You see, when I preach, they tell me that I insult black people a lot. I said I'm black. My father is black. My mother is black. My grandparents are black. I hate self-pity. I said it in England. I told them, I don't believe in racism. If I apply for a job you don't give me, if I don't like it, I go back to my country and build it and make it a better place than this place. They allowed all this nonsense to continue. And all they could do is to go and raise Igbo kids born in Kanu and in Lagos, perhaps under the bridge in Lagos somewhere. To be attacking IPOB that gave them everything that they are today. The little respect and dignity they have is because of IPOB. What is wrong in opening Calabar Seaport? Can somebody tell me? What is wrong in opening Iguacha Seaport? What is wrong with an Igbo man being the president of Nigeria? Is there anything wrong with it? But look at how we are begging, like, I can't even, it's so shameful. You claim you're a Nigerian with equal stake in Nigeria, but you cannot run for the presidency of the country. Is there any apartheid worse than that one? And what did Ohaneze do? Is to look at those who are fighting for their liberation to hand them over to the enemy. I remember that that Fulani people are killing his people. Where's that place Zeke was born? Zungeru. Don't do rain dance in the village. If you don't go hunting for grasshoppers, if you don't go hunting for squirrels, believe me, you're not one of us. Because it teaches you something. To love that very land the way you love your life. I'm walking the Uru Bridge in Lagos. All you see is concrete. You don't know anything. In their next life, they will not try. Is anybody here in doubt as to where Atiku comes from? No. They think they are smart. If you continue, you will see many more references and instances regarding Atiku and how, this is all on Google, not me, please, regarding how he became a Nigerian. I was only trying to infer that if referendum is good for Adamawa people, so it should be for Biafrans as well. So that they might as well invoke something called doctrine of necessity. If everybody in the zoo called Nigeria were to boycott elections on Saturday, in 2 weeks' time, Nigeria will be a brand new country. You won't recognize it anymore. They will be forced to invoke the doctrine of necessity to do the right thing for everybody. But you allow them to get away with murder. That is why they bring them to our land. They announce Python dance to cover the whole of the federation, but they are focusing in our land, killing us. And you see Igbo governors like Ibazo welcoming them, come and kill them more. Ordinary Uchoga. As an abacha beans, he's in APC. He visited in Nentu, Asan Nentu in Aba. Our people gave him the usual treatment. He went and called the army to kill our people. He's not even a governor yet. And those who don't know my history with P2B, I will tell you. Is anybody who was in Abga in those days here? Do you know me in Abga? I was the Abga chairman in the UK and in the whole of Europe. I fought for P2B to be elected. I demonstrated. I wrote countless petitions. I put pressure on the British government to put pressure on Obasanjo to allow P2B's mandate to be respected. Some of you don't know that. Did I campaign for Biafra or not? The first time around. Live on Radio Biafra. I campaigned for Biafra. So don't tell me any nonsense about being into politics. I have campaigned for them. Did anything change? Did anything change? No. Some people are saying it's our turn. P2B is our brother. I agree. He's our brother, yes. Not minding what happened at Izu River. But what is this thing now that P2B will give us that Nnamdi Kanu did not give us? Do you know who is Nwafo Orizu? Some of you here. Do you know he was head of state for some time? You know Aguiyi, my uncle. You know him? How about Ekweme? What did they do for us? What did they do for us? There is a saying, because I grew up in the village where I come from. Is that not correct? This one, we've been trudging on this road almost 50 times. There is no progress. If Jonathan, who answers our name, our own brother, Ebele Chukwuaziki, we could not build Second Niger Bridge, who will? Did Jubril build it? I'm sorry to say, no, I won't go that far. Let me leave it. There is a saying where we come from also. Uncle. Are you following me?
Of course.
Do you understand what I said? Yes. Eh? No matter how much the school fees is, no matter what it is, his uncle. Because your own is your own, our own is our own. Is that not correct? Nigeria is their own. Biafra is. It looks very, very difficult and almost impossible to accomplish. As somebody said, it looks impossible until it is done. If they tell you that the whole of the zoo will be vibrating because of IPOB, will you believe it 10 years ago? No. Huh? Because we are holding them in a very bad place, I assure you. In a very bad place. Only if we remain resolute, uncompromisingly strong, will we accomplish what we are looking for. Any sign of weakness and our enemies will divide us and they will march us into the ground. We can't afford to do that. I remember I went home 2015 when I told everyone I was coming back home. Now I'm in the UK. They're saying, why are you in the UK? Come back home. And I said, when I was back home, what did you do? You know, these days they use photoshopped pictures to try to claim that people went out to see Jubril. Is that correct? Did you see any of our rallies back home in 2017? Did you see any of our rallies? Did you see Ekulobia? Did you see when we went to, what's that place in Onisha we went to? Not in Bo. Not even a glare. A very tiny school we went to after 4 hours only. Omaba. I went to Obibo in Iguacha. The traffic was there for 12 hours. No, the whole of Iguacha, River State, entire River State. No vehicle moving for 12 hours. Because Aba is, you don't mention Aba. Because nothing happened that very Sunday in the whole of Aba. That is how strong we are. And I want our people listening all over the world to remain very strong. Don't allow yourselves to be distracted by these people that have no hope. Isn't it funny that it was only when the students threatened boycott that they allowed teachers to go back to class? Is that correct? Eh? I thought they said that boycott doesn't work. Atiku boycotted presidential elections. Is that correct? So did Jubril. Did anybody hold them to account for it? Because Fulani runs everything. I said this thing before, and I will say it again. I want you to ponder over it very seriously. You are hated. They hate you. Nigeria only tolerates you. They despise you. You can never please them. Do you know that the Northerners wanted to leave Nigeria? Are you aware of that? Yes. Who made them to stay? Nnamdi Kanu was begging them to stay. He conceded the prime ministership to MPC so there'll be peace. He had this utopian idea of this beautiful African continent full of black people migrating with their goats, their cows, and their sheep all over the place. A utopia that never reflected reality anywhere in history. And because of that, we are here today. I read a very interesting post, something I used to talk about many years ago. Do you know our sisters are not getting married back home? How many of you know that? If your sister gets married, you even throw your own private party. Am I lying? Am I lying? Not that we don't have men. They are either in the dust dunes of the Sahara Desert, at the bottom of the Mediterranean Sea trying to cross into Europe, or they're in prison, heaven knows where around the world. If we continue this way, our way of life, our people, our trace, our culture will disappear forever and ever. So what IPOB is doing concerns each and everybody here. Some of our kids are born in England. If in America we are to go out and bring back a Mexican girl, am I going to ask him to throw her away? How about if the girl wants to relocate to Mexico? Church, I was a Are you feeling what I'm saying? There's that beautiful name called Ahamefula. Do you remember it? We are lost as a people. And only IPOB can save you. Nothing, nobody else has the mettle or the balls to pursue this very fight to the bitter end, if need be. Only IPOB. All the nonsense they're doing back home, harassing us, trying to get us to not to pay attention to what we are doing will fail. They failed before, and they will fail again and again and again. Coming Saturday is a referendum for us. And this is the best time to do it. Because they are dangling a bait in front of us. Vice presidency. If you're very myopic, you will think we've never had it before. But Ekweme was VP, is that not correct? 3 years to Ekweme taking over. The same evil man, dead man now, Buhari, removed him. Today, Buhari is no more. They brought Jubril. I don't want to give you an express what I'm going to do on Thursday with Jubril. You wait for that very day. The same thing I did tonight, I'm going to do then. I will get people to actually confirm themselves that that thing there you see there is not Buhari and can never be. Everybody knows. I remember speaking to some experts in Israel. They said it is your responsibility and that of Nigerians to expose Jubril. No world government will do it for you. It's impossible. But because Yoruba wants presidency in 2023, because nobody wants to give IPOB credit, that is the reason why they will never ever accept that Buhari is dead. Never. So that then Nnamdi Kanu will be proven right? No. The same thing they did with us in Anambra elections that we boycotted. 97% boycott, successful. They ganged up and said, oh, instead of us to give them credits, please, all of you should agree. Let's give it to Obiano. And they were all settled, all of them. That's why nobody went to court. Can you imagine an election in Anambra State where nobody went to court? In Anambra. Is that possible? That tells you all you need to know about what is happening in the zoo and our need to counter it. I have given all these people some, how can I put it, some assignment this evening. This is for the Efulefus in PDP, the ERATs. I know who is remote controlling them. Very soon I will release his name. When was Atiku born? 1946. Where is the birthplace of Atiku? They will tell it is in Adamawa, not elsewhere. Atiku was born 1946 in Adamawa, which means that his own part of Adamawa was never a part of Nigeria. Cameroon. He was born in Adamawa, northern Cameroon. At the time of his birth, what nationality was he? By the constitution of the zoo called Nigeria, if you're born outside, can you contest for the presidency? No. Truthfully speaking, Atiku was not born in Nigeria, and I don't begrudge him. Today, he is a Nigerian. All I'm asking for is that same process that made it possible for Atiku to obtain green passport. Let them make it possible for us to go into the land of Biafra. Fairness, that's what we're asking for. And let me tell you something. For those asking us to vote in PDP and Atiku, let me tell you something that you do not know. Once the oil assets of the country is sold, as they're planning to do, Biafra will never come again. Do you know why? Because you not only have Fulani to contend with and irritating Yoruba media, you have a superpower. Because the people that will buy it now must come from a very powerful country, isn't it? How do you think they're then going to allow you to become independent? Do you know what they've done to us? Do you know how many places we've been to and they've said no to us? Before we go there, the zoo lobbyists will be there before us. It's not everything that I tell you. Most consultants around the world, when I was recruiting them to work for IPOB, said no, will not work for you. Because anybody that works for you, the Nigerian government will deploy every weapon in their arsenal against that very person and their company. Some of you have forgotten that Satlink was bought over in Israel because of Radio Biafra. Are you aware of that? Yes. Of course. You think they're going to keep quiet? They have nowhere else to go to. Every Fulani is flooding into the zoo called Nigeria. Heavily, they're everywhere. I know here now, we're saying it and everybody's keeping quiet as if nothing is happening. You know, we Biafrans, we are like our brothers, the Jews. People, we are doing exactly what we are doing in the 1800s, in the early 1900s. The Jews in the diaspora did not listen. Some said we are having fun in Europe. Others saying, after all, we are now the prime minister in Austria. Everything is going very well. It took the slaughter of 6 million people for them to go back to the land that God gave to them. And sometimes I get this very funny feeling that the same thing will happen to us. We have this very laid-back attitude. We don't think about tomorrow or what might become of us. Anywhere we go to, we settle down and say, here we have arrived. We are part of this. To the point that a once very proud race, the proudest in the whole of Africa, untouched and unmatched in any sphere of life. We are number one in everything. The first medical doctor, the first lawyer. In the whole of Africa, I'm not talking about zoo. The first people to defeat a European power, an Igbo man, in Haiti, defeated the army of Napoleon. And they couldn't believe it that this nigger could strategize in war to defeat a European army. That is why Haiti is suffering till this very day, that punishment. If you don't know, let me tell you. We love freedom because we are born with freedom. Anybody who is against IPOB, I stake everything I have. There is no genuine son or daughter of Biafra land that doesn't love freedom. None. That is who we are. That is why we are the only people that... Does anybody else have autonomous community? Apart from Asadibo land? No. Nobody. Some of you don't know that every blessed year we are conducting referendum inside our land, but you don't know that. Anytime they give your community autonomy, which means you have to go and look for Eze, isn't it? Or Igwe. Do we fight over it? Do we go to war over it? That's who we are. Freedom. If you don't want to be part of this Afaruku family and you want to go, bye-bye. In fact, we even come to the party. That is who we are because we love freedom and we cherish it. Why, therefore, are Igbo politicians not campaigning for us to be free? I will tell you why. Because all their masters, Ogahanine, is there any Igbo political godfather? No, you answer me. I'm asking you now. No. Any one of them? No. What you hear is Babangida boys, Obasanjo boys, Atiku. Even now they have Atiku boys. Oh, you're not following what is happening back home? Oh, Tinubu, you never have Tinubu boys as well. After all, Onyang would have knelt down for Tinubu and begged him to make him a governor. in our land. These are the people you call elite. These are the leaders you're talking about. That is why when you go close to them, Fulani will lose respect for you. Because that is their boy that he will kneel down and they will put turban around his head. He works for them. You don't know that? Any discussions you have with them ends up in the north. These are the people that are presiding over your affairs. And that is why a great number of us are abroad. Did you see the list of the police commissioners they brought out the other day? Did you see it? Yes. How many of them are from Igbo land, southeast?
And the apostle were to be killed and annihilated in 2 seconds.
A house, maybe in Zamfara. Because your name is Chinedu. You've not been to the village. Fortunately for you, you stumbled upon second-hand technophone, opened a Facebook account, and you heard there's a campaign going on and some people are boycotting, started to write rubbish against your own people. Let me ask you this question, my dear PDP erat. In your wildest dreams, the way you're carrying on about Atiku and Buhari, do you think Fulani boys will campaign for an Igbo man like that? Never. Killing themselves over 2 Fulani men that had no degree. Atiku only has a diploma, not a degree. Ask them to do the same thing for Morgan, they will not do it. For their own kind, they will never do it. Or is it the lies that they told us about Abga? There is a Juku's party. It's our party, or you used to be, so to speak. Have you ever heard before a governor in a particular party campaigning for the opponents of their own party? Have you heard of that before? Have you heard of that before? These are the same men that could not speak to Buhari when he was alive, when Nimbo was attacked in Enugu State. Ugwani was crying like a baby. He called Asorok, they banged the phone. And he said, he told Enugu people to start praying. But when it came to Nnamdi Kanu, they actually went to go and see them at Enugu government house. They asked the army to come and kill me. And you ask them, what did I do? He wants to bring us freedom and we don't like it. These are some of the people you call elites. You're in one party campaigning for another person. When I told Mwodo, let's boycott Anambra election, he said no. Look at the nonsense we ended up with. Today, he's telling us if you don't vote for Buhari, we will kill you in our own land. The same Buhari that killed us during the war, killed us in 2015, 16, 17. Is the man you're saying that if you don't vote for him, kill the person in our own land. Do you see how stupid we have gotten? Do you see how sad our lives truly are today? And why IPOB is more important now than ever in the lives of our people? So if you are one of those recruited in the data, does anybody have the map of Adamawa State here before 1961? For your information, Cameroon used to belong to the Germans. Are you aware of that? After Germany lost the Second World War, 1945-46, they divided it between France and Britain. So in actual fact, that part used to belong to Germany before. Did anybody see the video of the Lamido of Adamawa speaking very proudly about his Cameroon roots? Do you see your average lazy youth in the zoo, how twisted they are mentally? You have a man saying this is where we come from, we're from Cameroon. And you're saying, no, you're not from Cameroon. I don't understand. If you ask me a question now, where are you from? I'll tell you from Isama Faruku Ibeko. Then you turn around and tell me, no, you're not from there. Does that make any sense to anybody? That is exactly what is happening in the zoo. Because to ridicule is very easy. We learned this many, many years ago in 1995, 1996, here in England, 97. Yoruba media. If you're telling them something or pointing out their error, there's, oh, look at your shirt, it's not properly ironed. Something completely different from what you're asking them. I told somebody, but I think he's from Cameroon. He said, come back here and lead the boycott. I was told that somebody wrote something in Canada. There's, I don't know, this Canadian-based journalist. He's not a journalist. That I entered a deal with he's a job seeker in Canada. Entered a deal with APC. And it reminds me of what jihadists used to do. You know, when they bombed US or when they bombed Israel, you ask them, they say, oh no, it was Israel that sponsored the terrorists that bombed them. You've not heard of that before. So I will invite army to come to my house to kill me and kill my people. These people are so stupid. So you're only saying it because I stopped attacking Jubril. And I'll tell you, because you're IPOB, I'll tell you the whole world.
They even say that we're now being given
police escort. These are mad people. I stopped the expose on Jubril because some people thought we are stupid. They will sit down. The last bill that came for IPOB was $86,000 to get all these people to come into Israel. And I asked them, who is going to pay? The same IPOB you want. You sit down in your house. IPOB will fund all these things, and then you waltz into the presidency and answer the president. You do your own battles yourself. That's all. Because they thought we were stupid. They knew that Buhari was dead long time ago. They couldn't come out to say it. Because they're afraid of IPOB Nnamdi Kanu taking the credit for it. That's all. That's why out of anger I stopped. But on Thursday I'll deal with Jubril. Do you want one Nigeria? No. Because if you want one Nigeria, you go and vote. If you vote for one Nigeria, you will reap what you sow. The consequences are there. If you're going to a plan, if somebody's telling you to go and vote, please, I beg you, travel from Okigwe towards Enugu. I want you to go past Lokbanta. You see what awaits you. If you're traveling from Onitsha into Ninth Mile, before you get to Ninth Mile, look on the right-hand side. You will see the new settlement springing up. Mud, Fulani, Hausa houses. You don't know that? Go to Abakaliki, they speak Igbo more than you do. Are you aware of that? Ebonyi is almost gone. Gone, completely gone. And this was the same way that they came claiming they're fighting corruption. How do you think Fulani defeated Hausa people? How? I'm asking you, how? They said they have come to fight. They came to fight corruption. Fulani convinced local Hausa people to rise up against their own kings. And today they are gone. Gone and gone forever and ever. The same thing they did was what one Yoruba man called Afonja did. And they lost Kwara. That is what Umahi is doing. Ugwanyi is doing. All your governors, that's what they're doing. And before you know it, our land is gone. If you doubt me, please, I beg you, travel from Okigwe on the express road. Once you get to Lokba, you will spend 3 hours. There is no express. You know, express has a tar on top of it. Tarmac. There's none. They dug everything up. Everywhere. There is something some of you don't know also. In every major town or within 40 kilometers of every major town in Biafra land, there is an army barracks. Do you know that? You don't know? They have encircled us. All they have been doing all this while is to provoke IPOB. So we go into war prematurely. And then Nyanwood and the governors will help them to take over our land. When they came to my house with 2 fighter jets and 2 helicopter gunships, for one person, they came to my house. What they wanted to do was to dare me to kill any of them. They will bomb my village, that's number 1. And number 2, they will start killing our people in the north. Do you know what will happen then? Nyanwodo will say, we told you so, he's bringing war here. So you don't know? So you don't know that? That was what they planned. Go and listen to Kezib Azu's statement. It was very clearly made that we saved lives in the north. So we are the ones who are expendable. And what is the crime of IPOB? Trying to set our people free. That is our only crime. Nothing more, nothing less. That is why we must remain very strong and very, very resolute. The foolishness of these people, 1 minute we are working for APC, 1 minute we are working for PDP, depending on who we are attacking. And our job is to attack all of them. To attack all of them. The truth must be spoken. Some people don't know this, but it must be spoken. And here on this very platform, we speak it without fear before anybody. Somebody asked me a question last week, and they twisted it. Oh, why he, you know Yoruba, why he ran away and left his supporters? I laughed at them. And I said to them, if you stand in front of, you know yellow fever, those that command traffic. If you stand in front of a yellow fever man and call him a madman, then I'll respect you. I didn't say Buhari before he died. They are hitman. I had nothing, and they're afraid of me. Imagine when I acquire guns and weapons, what will happen to the zoo? When I went to USA, when was it? When I asked them to give me arms, was it 2015? 2014. I asked them then to give me weapons. You know, Mandia Nathan Hamburg and America. They refused. As soon as they started killing us, as soon as the headsmen came and started to slaughter us, they started saying, IPOB should go and fight for us. And I asked them, with what? We are now signing our own death warrants one after the other. You know, the funniest thing about the things I say on Radio Biafra is this. It has a very funny way of happening. When I say it, it happens. It may take a while, but eventually it does come to pass. These people are very clever. If they give power, they said power will stay in the north 8 years, return to the south for 8 years. That's what they claim. They arranged. But if Atiku takes over, the power will be in the north for how many years? I remember when I was in prison, the talk was when we blocked Head Bridge for 4 days. They said they give them presidency, please. Give them presidency. It's about time. It was Igbo men. Every leader you have in Igbo land, be it in the House of Senate, House of Reps, or Hanese, whatever, was appointed by Fulani people. I said that a while ago, didn't I? Nobody believed me. Now they have divided Hanese into 2. Uchokuku is heading 1. Uchokuku is a traitor. Uchokuku stood up in a court of law in Abuja to testify against Obasirike. Do you know that? Uchokuku. They now raised him to go and fight in Nyanwodo. And I said to Nyanwodo, I told you so. The same people he was serving are now fighting him. So a Fulani man can just wake up one morning and decide to divide the Igbo people into 4, into 5, into 6. Do you know why? Because he appointed the senators, the House of Reps, your governors. They are all in their pocket. They do as they tell them. Is it making sense now to all of you? How many of you saw the video of these idiots going to Asarok? You will shed tears. No more Nyawode in Ohaneze. Ohaneze is now factionalized. Because they know it's an Igbo man. They fall apart. It has happened, hasn't it? No amount of presidency will save each and every one of you. Was Jonathan not a president? Was Jonathan not a president, for goodness sake? Any difference in your lives? If Jonathan as the president did not make any difference, what makes you think that IPOB as the vice can do something? Eh? What has Osibajo done for you, people say? What has... The thing about my preaching is that I preach and I lecture, I teach. So that because we are... What made IPOB to survive is because we are very reasonable people. It is only a Biafran you will tell something, he or she will go home, think about it and come back and say, you're right, oh, that thing you're saying. Not the rest of them. Because they have this pathological hatred for our people. In Israel, I used to speak to the politicians in Israel. I used to say to them, when they ask me, how are you sure that Igbo, Biafra is related to Israel? I said the same things you're going through is what we go through. People hate us for no reason because we are good at what we do. For no reason. If you ask a Yoruba person, why do you hate an Igbo man? They couldn't possibly tell you. The same thing with Hausa Fulani. And it did not start today. Did it start today? That's why I hate Zeke. After Zeke must have heard what Ahmadu Bello said in their so-called new One Nigeria about Igbo people, you still went ahead to form government. Is unbelievable. The same thing they are doing today in our land. But I'm sure now that Wodo has woken up to see that all along I was right. That thing I saw sitting down, maybe in a bunker. He has now seen from on top of Milking Hill. He has now seen it. Political parties can never solve your problem in the zoo because they don't know how to run an economy. It is not in the DNA of Fulani people to run a progressive, viable economy. Never. Ever, ever. This is Radio Biafra. If you're joining us from wherever I hope the whole world is listening. Is that correct? Yes. We are slightly unorthodox, as we say all the time, but we must continue. They say there's this jihadi thing going all over the place about the Islamic group in Nigeria. How many of you here know that Atiku is an Islamist? How many of you here know that? Do you know what I find shocking and disturbing about our people? Exactly this time, 4 years ago, the craze was anybody but Jonathan. Let Jonathan go. True or false? True or false, I'm asking you. 4 years later, is vote out Buhari. You think I'm stupid? Let us get rid of that system that produces all these nincompoops from time to time. Collapse the entire system and start all over again is very simple. Boycott the elections, the whole thing collapses completely and totally. Then you have a proper constituent assembly because the Northerners, they have inbuilt majority in the House. Inbuilt. You can never change anything through politics. Never. You don't know that? And they say, oh, well, go and vote. Everything you do is through voting. But there are 4-year-olds who are registered voters in Kanu. Niger people are coming to campaign with them. They've asked them that people from Niger and Northern Cameroon and Chad, they can come and vote. Are you going to count the votes there? Are you going to count it? Unbelievable. 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 What we are passing through as a people. Fulani, June and all of you, even some people here in this very hall. What they have done to our psyche is to damage us. And I thank you for IPOB. Because they have seen a semblance of cohesion, of togetherness, of a sense of purpose and of direction. That is why they're against us. That a little child bearing an Igbo name, born somewhere that I wouldn't want to remember, will rise up and say, if you keep talking about boycott, I will tell them to bring Operation Python dance. Madness. And they claim that they are educated, all of them. They claim they went to school. They see what is happening everybody said there. No good roads, no good hospitals, no electricity. Year after year after year after year after year for nearly 50-something years. And you think that if you go on Saturday and you vote, somehow all that problem will disappear. Is it going to disappear on Saturday? So if you're looking for somebody to cure your problem, you run to a Fulani man to cure it for you. Unbelievable. 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 Have you circulated this very paper on Sharia in the north? On what they're doing about it? About Nigeria's, the Abuja Declaration. How many of you here have read it? Yeah. The Islamic Declaration in Abuja.
They removed that document.
It's still, we found it. It's still online to be circulated after this.
They removed the original document.
The original one, they've removed it?
Yeah, immediately after Muslims.
Do you know that Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a Muslim? Are you sure you know? 100%. I thought they are your Yoruba friends. I have a genuine Yoruba friend. Femi Fanikayode is a good man. Do you see how he's the only one standing? Have you noticed? The only one standing. And I believe he has a Biafran blood from somewhere. I don't think he's completely Yoruba, to be honest with you. I don't think so. Do you see what they have done to Fayoshe? Do you hear about him anymore? Do you hear about my good friend Fayoshe anymore? No, you won't. Because things are happening, very terrible things are happening. That is why this IPOB here in London must continue what you're doing. Make sure we replicate what I'm seeing here all across the UK. Very, very important. I know that London is the very center. Everybody is here. Everybody congregates around London. But I want this replicated everywhere. Because from what I see about London IPOB, if we are like this everywhere else, I don't think it will take us 2 months for us to get Biafra, I can tell you that. Because our problem started in England, it will also end in England. If you're in doubt before this very evening as to why I said what I said last week, Saturday, I believe we have cleared it now, isn't it? Have we not cleared it? And perhaps we got Atiku into even more trouble. But the truth must be spoken. Because I swore to speak the truth always, even if it leads to my death. That is my oath before heaven and before this very earth. Before Chukwokika Biama. I will speak the truth always. And there is nothing anybody can do about that. We got information that some pastors in Biafra land have collected money, claiming that I have told them that they should go and vote. I am telling you tonight that that is a lie. A complete lie. Anybody who challenges what I say will end up in disgrace. If in doubt, ask Nyanwood or Mbaka. They will tell you. What I preach is the gospel of heaven. Complete and utter truth. In IPOB, I hide nothing from this very great family. You are you are too important. All over the world, the talk is of IPOB. Everywhere you go to is IPOB. Everywhere you go to is IPOB. Because we are very, very special. We are the children of light. Without us, Africa will remain poor forever and ever. Have you seen South Africa these days? Huh? South Africa is fast becoming like Nigeria now. Don't you know that? You don't know? We are the only hope of Africa. Biafra is the only hope, in fact, for every black man on the face of this very earth. So I tell those fighting against IPOB, fighting against the restoration of Biafra, please, you're doing yourself a great disservice. Because Biafra is actually fighting for your liberation as well. We don't want anybody's land. We don't want anybody's resources. All we are asking for is to be left alone, to worship Chukwuokike Abiama in the land of our ancestors, as our ancestors did before the white man came. That all honor and glory may belong to Chukwuokike Abiama, now and forevermore. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Rising sun, we love Africa odogwu. Onye nwe egwu n'isochi nke izizi. Odenigbo isochi. Na-ewetezili n'anyị egwu mmeli. Ịma na mbụ emele m ka ị mata n'ụmụ Biafra na-agụ, mana o nwere ndị ọ na-efe efe na ntị ekwutokwu Biafra masị ka ọ na-ebe a gịnị ka eme na abịazie nune n'okwu onye amụma onye bụzi na onye amụma Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, onye amụma mbụ ụwa niile. Oyi! Aha! Ọjọlọjọlọ! Egwu mmeli abịago.
Egwu mmeli abịago. Egwu mmeli abịago. Ọkwa alịla anago.
Egwu mmeli mụ bụ ewere ka na-ekwu.
Egwu mmeli abịago. Ọkwa alịla anago.
Maka na ndị jere ọgụ ga-enwe mmeli yo.
Egwu mmeli abịago. Ọkwa alịla anago.
Ụmụ Biafra niile ebe ọ bụ na ị nọ, ụtọ ka anyị debe egwu na anyị emeligo. Anyị gwara agwa na anyị ya na bajụ dị na anyị ebegide n'obodo alụ. Obodo na-egbuzi mmadụ wee kabazi anyị ka anyị bili. Bili ndị ibe emebegide o. Iyo. Ndị mụrụ anya mụ n'oge izizi ngwa n'ezi enu n'efe na-akwazi akwa. Mbụ Biafra na-epụ ụwa niile, ndị na-agba mbọ onu m ekene unu. Ndị Amerịka, anyị na-akpọ aka unu, anyị na-ekene unu. Unu na-agba mbọ. Amerịka agbakwana mbọ maka na ọya adịla unu mma. Ukraine dịkwana ya. Canada, Zimbabwe, Turkey, Taiwan, South Korea na Senegal. Switzerland unu mekene unu. Ebo gad ka anyị sizinu a na-ekwu na nkịtị. Ndị Afrịka niile ndị na-agba mbọ ọkachakwa South Africa onu m ekene unu we. Europe niile ndị na-akwado anyị onu m ekene unu. Ndị mba Germany, ụmụ Biafra jikwa ekene were obi ya zie na nnabata ọma nke unu nyeziri n'anyị. Ndị Japan, anyị na-agba aka unu. Unu na-agba mbọ onu m ekene unu we. Londo onumekene imanonya mumadi anwanwu ebo buni nona odulu manya na kachukwu di ya o otokwu Igbo niile onye amụma na-afụ ụzọ onye amụma Obinigwe aye 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 oyi ọjọlọ jọlọ
mgbomgbo
mụgbagụla niile ahịhịa ọka na ya n'obienu tebere m ekwu ka itebe ekwu ọnwụ agaghị na-ekwopụ ya n'ọbaghị ime mmụọ anyị ebeliwo Chukwu dịra n'odego referendum or no referendum anyị anago nke a dolumanya ije sheba 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 oshie egwu mmeli abịago
egwu mmeli adego ọkwa alịla anago
egwu mmeli mụ bụ egbule ka na-ekwu
egwu mmeli adego ọkwa alịla anago
maka na ndị jere ọgụ ga-enwe mmeli o
egwu mmeli adego ọkwa alịla anago
ụmụ bụ egbule niile
egwu mmeli adego
ana Igbo niile o
egwu mmeli adego
ibibio niile
egwu mmeli adego
segilidekwa n'ụlọnugo
egwu mmeli adego
igala niile
egwu mmeli adego
ana ngrie
mmeli adego
izọmụsokwe
mmeli adego
ịjọ ndị nke mụọ
mmeli adego
igedebie
egwu mmeli adego
ibibio niile
egwu mmeli adego
efiki so n'ibe a na-alụ
egwu mmeli adego egwu mmeli adego
ọkwa ndị nwe obodo enwenuo
egwu mmeli adego
ndị na-enyere anyị aka
egwu mmeli adego
ndị fụrụ Biafra n'anya
egwu mmeli adego
Australia dị na ya
egwu mmeli adego
Angola sokwezi ya nụọ
mmeli adego
kedu maka Austria
egwu mmeli adego
Greece onumekinunu
egwu mmeli adego
Benin Republic ndị ọma
egwu mmeli adego
Belgium dị na ya
egwu mmeli adego
kee maka ndị Brazil
egwu mmeli adego
China onumekinunu
egwu mmeli adego
Cambodia
egwu mmeli adego
Cameroon dị na ya
egwu mmeli adego
Denmark
egwu mmeli adego
Congo Brazzaville
egwu mmeli adego
Czech Republic
egwu mmeli adego
Dubai dị na ya Democratic Republic of Congo ekenekwa m
egwu mmeli adego
igwutari ebe ndị
egwu mmeli adego
Ireland onume ekene
egwu mmeli adego
France ndị ọma
mmeli adego
Gabon dị na ya Biafra nini unana ngozi Igbo ingu ngodi Igbo ikwesiri ka anya gị dị sharp ụmụ Biafra biko chekwa ntị n'onu unu ma na ikuku ekugo
anafuzi gokugo
ikuku ekugo
anafuzi gokugo
ikuku ekugo
anafuzi gokugo
ibia n'ime sineti
anafuzi gokugo
na House of Assembly
anafuzi gokugo
na Benue
anafuzi gokugo
na Jos
anafuzi gokugo
n'ime Plateau State
anafuzi gokugo
aja na Anambra
anafuzi gokugo
nke Imo kachakwa njọ
anafuzi gokugo
n'ime Enugu
anafuzi gokugo
aga m ekwuzi gị na yaro nne kedu maka Ebonyi ebe ebutere alụsị ndị alakụba bịa dobere anyị dị na alụsị ụlọ akwụkwọ ụmụ Igbo mụrụ anya ịbụrụ ụmụ Igbo abụkwala ụmụ Igbo iyo ijo ọjọlọjọlọ ikuku ekubonu a na-akwụsị ike ọkụkọ ayaka isi ọchị akwaba nanụ ijo ụdịrịbe onwe eze ọchị akwa we dey see them international community Nigeria egwu mmeri abịago